Good morning, friends, family, and followers. I'm Sonya Ward from Harmony Success Solutions. If you have visited my channel before, you may be very familiar by now with Harmony Success Solutions. Well, what HSS is, my coaching practice, come through it, I'm able to deliver empowerment material, products, and services that help people in their personal and professional quest. Today I want to talk to you about emotional and mental bondage. A lot of times we assume that when someone is physically locked away, that they cannot get away because they're physically locked away, and that if there are no shackles, if there are no cuffs, if there are no chains, there should be no issue. They should be able to get away. This discussion is inspired by the story of the 4 young girls that was kidnapped and held for the last 10 years in captivity. I do understand that in the basement there were chains sometimes, but there were times when they were not bound physically and assumed able to escape. Many have the question, and they raise the question, why didn't they run? And they question the victims, why didn't they run? Why didn't they try to escape and get away? And I think it's a real unfair statement to make, although you would assume that if it were me, I would have. But you have no idea what kind of fear tactics and control methodologies were used to keep these girls bound. For example, you never know if they said, we know where your mother lives, your father lives, your grandparents, your siblings. We will kill them, we will blow up the house, we will bomb it. You don't know what kind of threats were made. Or I will cut off your leg or your arm or whatever. You don't know what was presented to these girls as fear tactics to make them stay put, not scream, not run for cover. Or if you get away, I'm going to kill the rest of them in here. So you just don't know. And here's the thing. Even in situations where someone is not taken away by a complete stranger such as this man, you have people who are in bondage in their own free life. In other words, they're free to go, free to be, free to explore, but they have internal chains on them. They have internal bondage. They have emotional bondage. They have been abused. They have been taken advantage of. They have been mind beaten, emotionally beaten, spiritually beaten, and they just are now in prison. And once you're in prison, after a while, for a great number of people, you don't have the faith or the courage to run free or to be free, or you don't even know how to be free anymore, because what happens is you become what your mind is subjected to on a constant basis. So if someone's constantly telling you you will never amount to anything in life, you will never be successful, you will never get a degree, you will never get a job, you will never have a career, you will never be beautiful, you will never be thin, you will never stop doing drugs, you will always be a crackhead, you're going to always be a hoe, you're going to always be this, that, thus, such, and everything else. People have been victimized by master manipulators and control freaks that decide to pound something into their mind, into their spirit, and into their emotions, places where you can't necessarily lift it away, and it creates scars over time. So I mean, I know I myself am a very, very strong person, but I've been exposed to some of that negative presentation where someone wants me to believe what they want to believe for me. You have to understand something. Anytime God has anything good for you, and God has something good for all of us, He created us for goodness, the enemy is not pleased with that, and he will use people who are weak and who are negative and dark and mean-spirited to try to take you down. And so then you become bound and you can't get free. So I can understand completely why these girls didn't run. For a number of reasons. Like 2 of them ran immediately, and others stayed behind. Just afraid. Like, is this real? Is this a setup? Are they going to take advantage of me too? Is this a real police officer? I'm afraid. These are real possibilities. And, the potential for them to be abused even further, obviously, is a fear factor for them. Okay, now they're bringing some other guys in here dressed like police officers, and they're going to take advantage of me too. You just don't know what's going through their minds. These women, I thank God for their freedom and liberty and their return home. I pray their strength and pray for their capacity to heal and to be restored and to have some sense of normalcy in their life. You know, we have to really think about how we judge the next person who's been victimized. And victimization, you know, sometimes people say things like, oh, you want to play the victim, oh, poor victim, and try to be slick and smart about being condescending or in some capacity, you know, and it's just really unfair. People out here are hurting. I interview and speak with women and men on a daily basis, and when I understand what they've been through and what their life has left them with in terms of an emotional package to work with, a spiritual scar to live through, all of these things, molested in the church, raped by the father, raped by the uncle, raped by the brother. I hear story after story after story after story. I couldn't tell, I didn't tell. All, you know, some people, if you tell, I'm going to do this, and the other, you better not tell, is just enough. Just that fear, and then sometimes the guilt where you feel, you know, dirty or guilty or like it's your fault or that you're going to cause a big tiff in the family. It is a huge scar. So we need to be very careful about the way that we talk to people and the way that we carry on and treat people who have been through such horrific events. Abuse is real. It is a severe battle for those who are the victims. And so, you know, I'm praying for the families, I'm praying for the girls, and, you know, that man is obviously a very, very sick person. And, you know, remember that God will make sure that everyone pays the price that they should pay. You know, He's a just God, and I believe that. So, once again, I thank the angels in heavens for making it possible for them to break free and be restored to their home settings. And I think one young lady is still in the hospital, and she's not restored to her actual home setting. But I thank God that they have families to return to 10 years later. You know, parents could have died, grandparents could have died, but God is good, you know. And so that's just, you know, the way that I feel about it. I've heard people say negative things, you know, about the victims, and I just don't understand how people come away with their school of thought, their statement of release, and how comfortable they can be saying such things. A victim is a victim. They didn't choose to be that. They didn't go say, hey, take me, I want to come live with you. You know, taking against will, that is, you know, abduction, and then the rapes, and then the abuse. It's so much. A child was born to one, and the young lady that had the baby had been pregnant 5 times, beaten and starved to have, you know, to force abortions, and it's just horrible. So, you know, for the rest of her life, she's going to have to look at that little girl and love her beyond the pain that she also represents. And so I pray her strength. Thank you for listening. If you like my channel, please subscribe to it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave your comments below so that we can have some level of dialogue to talk about, you know, what has happened, and perhaps be able to heal someone who falls upon my channel and is able to hear this and say, hey, you know, I've gone through this, and, you know, people accuse me of ruining the family and jacking things up and lying and all kinds of things, and so let us just get together and talk about it, and let's begin to heal, change perception, perspective, and hopefully for the better. Thanks again. You can find me at www.SonyaWardEmpowers.com. God bless you and have a terrific day.